Hey, it's the Empire, Geoboxing Empire, Baxter Boxing. Now, my boy Kieth Thurman, man, he finally came out, man. Apparently, he was injured again and got surgery again for his hand, right? And he got a fusion, apparently. Something was wrong with his hand where there was 2 bones instead of 1, and he got them combined again. Weird stuff going on with Kieth Thurman, right? But he calls out Manny Pacquiao and ERROL SPENCE, man, and he says that basically that he wants to he wants to get back in the ring, but he wants to take things lightly. He wants to do it a step at a time, right? Because he just got surgery. He doesn't want to go too hard too quickly, but he does want this ERROL SPENCE fight, right? He talks about how ERROL SPENCE was basically a career-defining, legacy-defining fight for him, and it's basically he compares it to Mayweather and Pacquiao, the type of rivalry they have in ERROL SPENCE and Kieth Thurman. Now it's wild now because ERROL SPENCE already basically said that he's not interested in Kieth Thurman because when ERROL SPENCE was a contender coming up, Kieth Thurman didn't want to fight the guy. He didn't want to fight the guy. He was ducking him. He was making excuses why he didn't want to fight him. And now that ERROL SPENCE is in the same situation where, you know, Kieth Thurman's a former world champion, and now ERROL SPENCE is that guy. He said, since you didn't give me an opportunity, I'm not going to give you that opportunity. And that really, they say karma always comes back to hunt you, man. And Kieth Thurman didn't fight ERROL SPENCE, and now he's basically a forgotten man at the welterweight division, right? Because he didn't fight who he wanted him to fight, which is ERROL SPENCE, man. Him losing to Manny Pacquiao, it was a good payday, but losing Pacquiao at this stage of his career is a bad look. You know, he should, if he lost to ERROL SPENCE Jr. in a competitive fight, people will be still talking about Kieth Thurman, much like how Sean Porter fought Kell Brook in an exciting fight. And ever since then, Sean Porter's been in all exciting fights, and people still talk about the guy. That's because he doesn't duck anyone and he fights everyone they put in front of him. Kieth Thurman did not fight everyone he put in front of him. He did fight elite opposition, but unfortunately for him, he didn't fight who the fans wanted him to fight at the time, right? Which was ERROL the Truth Spence. Now, I'm gonna give Kieth Thurman some credit. He did fight Danny Garcia when he first went up in weight. He fought Sean Porter, right? Great fight. And then he fought Manny Pacquiao. They're all great fights, but you know, he didn't fight whoever he didn't get that career-defining fight, man. And that career-defining fight was ERROL SPENCE. I remember at one point, Floyd Mayweather was fighting. It was such a long time ago when ERROL SPENCE was coming up, and this is before ERROL SPENCE was champion. He was just a contender, right? He was beating people like Chris Algieri. He was knocking people out, God, I forgot the guy's name. Ubundu, I believe. It was the fight that Kieth Thurman went to decision with, right? ERROL SPENCE stopped the guy, right? And Floyd Mayweather said, listen, you fight this guy, ERROL SPENCE, you can fight me. You know, Kieth Thurman was so big at one point that he could have fought Floyd Mayweather if he just fought ERROL SPENCE Jr. Because I remember there's times in the ring where ERROL SPENCE and Floyd Mayweather would be chilling and Kieth Thurman would be fighting, and he's like, yeah, fight this young hungry guy, and then you can fight me. Kieth Thurman didn't take it, man. He didn't take the fight. And it said he decided to go his own route, which ended up being a mistake. You know, at that point of his career, I think that ERROL SPENCE has gotten better as a fighter. He's changed trainers. A lot of things has happened. He's been training with Jermell Charlo, the 154 champ right now at super welterweight or junior middleweight, whatever you want to call it. And right now he's around more elite level opposition and training partners. You know, he's fighting bigger guys now and sparring camps, he's around better training partners like Jermell Charlo. So this is a really big deal. ERROL SPENCE, in my opinion, has gotten better. He has not stagnated. And if Kieth Thurman fought ERROL SPENCE years ago, he would have had a better chance of beating ERROL SPENCE. But now that ERROL SPENCE has had time to develop, you know, he is a better fighter in my opinion. Now, there's a lot of people who say ERROL SPENCE Jr. Could have devolved because of his whole car accident incident. Now all of a sudden that ERROL SPENCE got in a car accident and we don't know how he'll show up his next fight, a lot of people are calling him out all of a sudden. A lot of people are calling him out. You know, Kieth Thurman came out of nowhere. You just got a lot of people coming in calling him out. You got a lot of contenders calling him out. Danny Garcia wants to fight him. I mean, you got everyone wants Errol Spence Jr. now, right? Because we don't know how he's going to come back after this car accident. A lot of people said they're saying emotionally scarred Errol Spence Jr. They're saying, you know, it's a traumatic experience, you know, because Errol Spence Jr. wasn't just hit by, you know, he didn't just get in a car accident. The guy flung out of his car and was, you know, bouncing off the road. You know, his body was just bouncing off the road. You know, regardless of the injury or not, that's still a devastating injury to your psyche, right? I mean, how long did he, I'm pretty sure he didn't go right back to his everyday activities after a car accident like that. You know, eventually you're probably just gonna have to sit at home a couple of days and just reflect on, you know, you being alive in the first place. So a lot of people think that this is the time to fight Errol Spence now, and a lot of people are jumping out at it, including Kieth one-time Thurman. We're gonna see how this whole thing unfolds, man. Kieth Thurman says he wants it. He says he's gonna come back fighting some tough opposition. Like he says, he wants to build it up. So maybe 1 or 2 fights away from Errol Spence Jr. fight. Do you guys still want to see that fight? I'm interested in still seeing that fight. I think that Kieth Thurman's gonna be ready for that fight because that's always a fight that people thought he had a disadvantage in, just because of Errol Spence's devastating body shots. He has devastating body shots, and if you know, if Errol Spence walks up to Kieth Thurman throwing him body shots, could he handle it? A lot of people don't think he can. You know, so we're gonna see how this whole thing unfolds, man. I think it's a 50-50 fight. We'll see how Errol Spence looks in his next performance. We'll see if that car accident really did affect him. We'll see if Kieth Thurman got better after his surgery. Apparently he wasn't hitting hard enough, and he had injuries to his hands, so he couldn't throw all power. So we're gonna see how both of them come back from their circumstances. Let me know how you guys feel about it, though. Kieth Thurman said he wants to come back and fight Errol Spence Jr. And he said he's gonna come back and fighting tougher opposition. So that's good, man. That's good. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Geoboxing Empire. Peace. Geoboxing Empire.